Now, at least one person has been injured after a petrol station roof collapsed in Sharpeville this afternoon. The area has been experiencing heavy rains and strong winds. Our reporter Manqoba Mchunu joins us with the very latest. Now, Manqoba, I know that you have moved on from the petrol station, but I want to start there because it is truly startling when you actually look at the visuals. What can you tell us about how this accident happened and what led to it being caused?
Well, Sally, what we do understand at this point is that this incident happened just after 1 o'clock this afternoon when those severe thunderstorms had happened here in the area. And those were there, the witnesses saying that there was a heavy downpour at the time, accompanied by strong winds. And that led to the collapse of that roof structure, which then collapsed onto those 3 vehicles, including a bus, a mini taxi, as well as a small vehicles. We do understand, Sally, also that there were 4 occupants in all those 3 vehicles. We did see some of those images of the taxi driver coming out of the window, as well as some of those occupants trying to find their way out of those vehicles. One of them was injured. That's the driver of the small vehicle, and he was taken to hospital. In fact, we did try to also speak to some of the staff at the petrol station about what it is that they saw, and Sally, many of them are still traumatized about the events that unfolded there. But in terms of injuries, Sally, one of them was injured. And in fact, we did speak to one of the family members or a relative earlier on who said that the man was in hospital and that he was receiving treatment, but he was not injured severely. So it was certainly a lucky escape, Sally. And the fact that when you look at those visuals and the way in which that roof structure collapsed on top of those vehicles, that really no one died in that incident.
Yes, it is. It is incredibly lucky, and that the person is recovering in hospital who was injured. But now you have moved on to another area of damage. We are hearing some reports of the local mall in Mfuleni also being flooded, but you are now at the Midvaal private hospital. That's also been flooded. Tell us about that.
Indeed, Sally, we are in fact in 3 Rivers, which is one of the areas that was severely battered by this thunderstorm. We did see some of those reports coming through of some of the shops in the mall here, which is not far from here, also being flooded with water coming through the roof of those structures. And this is due to the hailstorm that we saw earlier on. That is the case, as we understand, here at the hospital as well. That's the reason why they say there was flooding in this particular hospital. But I just want to show you, Sally, how that rain has actually impacted here on this hospital. You can see here we are in one of the storerooms here in the hospital where, of course, there was flooding that was reported. And Sally, I can tell you that several of the doctors' rooms here had to be closed due to the flooding. And, of course, the management saying that they saw the rain coming through the roof, and they believe that, of course, the hail was behind the fact that there was, in fact, flooding in this hospital. But I just want to bring in Andre Urbert, who is the hospital manager here. Andre, just tell us the impact and the extent of the damage that's been caused by this rain.
Thank you. Yes, it was quite severe, and as you mentioned, it's because of the hail that flooded the gutters that caused the rain to come through the roof. So there was some damage done, mainly on the top floors, but you know, luckily we managed to clear that away quickly and clear most of the water away.
And in terms of, I mean, what was affected, were any of the patients affected by all of this?
It was mainly in public areas, so no patients were in any harm during any time. We cleared the public areas away. Most of it was in the doctor's suites, and being Friday afternoon, many of those were closed already. So we're busy assessing the damage in those suites at the moment, but none of the patients or staff was in any danger at any time.
And in terms of, will those rooms now be able to open following this incident, or are they still considered hazardous for now?
Nothing hazardous, no structural damage, but obviously we're getting cleaning teams in to clean during the weekend, and by Monday they should be ready to operate again.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andre. Just giving us a picture there, Sally, of the extent of the impact that that thunderstorm has had here in the south of Gauteng. Many areas reporting localized flooding. We've heard reports of localized flooding in several of the townships, as well as some of the streets and some of the shops here in 3 Rivers. So certainly telling you how serious the thunderstorm was.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Manqoba Mchunu. And of course we know that more thunderstorms are predicted across Gauteng and other areas. So I would imagine that emergency services are on alert this evening.